Welcome back to First Take, everyone. That's South Beach. That's where we are. It's First Take. We are on the road for the NBA Finals. We welcome to the debate desk Michael Eric Dyson, a professor of sociology at Georgetown, a political analyst. You're an author of more than a dozen books, including a few articles on Jordan and LeBron. I'm getting all these facts right. You have so many credits, but we only have a 30-minute show, so
right.
You don't mind if I condense all of that.
Not at all.
But definitely well-versed to speak on the series, since you wrote that very interesting article on LeBron, the two kings.
Right. Tell
us a little bit about your thoughts on the series.
Well, it's been an incredible series. I mean, obviously, as Stephen A. and Brother Skip have indicated already, and you, that it pits two great teams against each other, but it's a game of rhythms. And I think that Popovich is a kind of genius at trying to get the X's and O's, but he also understands the intangibles. I think the disadvantage of Spoelstra is not his intelligence, which is quite keen, but it's the fact of experience. Because once you've been there, you know how to negotiate your way within the confines that have been imposed upon you. Popovich historically has understood how to maneuver, and he knows how to motivate, and he knows who to put in. I mean, if you talk about, we're in a post-industrial culture, but he did a little manufacturing. He put Manu in there, and Manu was able to really, put some fire into their bones and introduce a new element there. And I think that what Spoelstra has to do now is figure out, do I put UD back in? Do I relieve Mike Miller and put Anderson back in? Do I bring that kind of energy? It's the intangibles right now. We know LeBron is great. We know he's a formidable force. He may be the most formidable force in the history of this game in terms of a hulking behemoth of a physical specimen, but he's got a brain of Einstein. But you got to figure out how to motivate his spirit to get him there.
That's where I wanted to go with you, because you and I have spoken on many occasions in the past, particularly about LeBron, some of the legacy questions that get attached to him, his resume, his illustrious career, some of the shrapnel of criticism that's been thrown at him. All of those things being considered, as you watch this series unfold and you watch the roller coaster ride that he's been on, as a guy, as a professor that has talked about the social aspects of things, strictly from a cultural perspective, and the kind of impact that ultimately has on a player. What are you seeing unfold right now with LeBron James at this stage of his career?
Well, that's a great point, because a lot of people discount that. They act as if these guys are playing in a vacuum, and they're not. LeBron is playing probably under the greatest spotlight and glare that any athlete has endured. The relentless scrutiny about whether he will do this or not. Even the spectacle of the decision. I disagreed with all of the criticism that was heaped upon him, as if the media itself didn't ask him every time he went to the bathroom, what are you going to do? Every time he was speaking to his girlfriend or his fiance, what are you going to do? So now they create the spectacle, the desire for the culture to know what he's going to do, and then blame him once he makes a decision to give $2.5 million to the Boys and Girls Club, by the way, and announce his decision. But having said that, I think that this guy has been more scrutinized than any human being on earth as an athlete. And as you've said, there's a distinction between what he's doing now and what he did even 2 years ago. He's been able to stand up to the moment. He's been able to meet the ferocity of the critique with a kind of internal fortitude and intestinal fortitude that allows him to step up to the moment. The question is, can he overcome what Pop is doing? Because what Pop is throwing at him is so strategic and beautiful. It's like moral jiu-jitsu. And what LeBron has to do is to understand how to use the energy of his enemies and opponents against themselves. And the question is, can he do that in a kind of matrix-like configuration before the series is over?
You used a fascinating phrase. LeBron is trying to figure out how to motivate his spirit. You've written extensively about Michael Jordan, who he could motivate his own spirit on call at any moment. Expand on that. LeBron is reaching down through meditation to find what?
Well, he's trying to find how to channel his own incredible ability into a collective enterprise, because these guys are individual geniuses. Look, if you talk about the greatest, you've got to obviously talk about Michael Jordan. You got to talk about Kobe Bean Bryant, who I think people slight. They talk about, they jump from Jordan to LeBron. But excuse me, there's a guy with 5 rings who, in my estimation, Jordan is the greatest force the game has seen. LeBron may turn out to be the greatest athlete, but the greatest player, pure skill, to me, is Kobe Bean Bryant. He played, Jordan came out one game, oh my God, I'm ill, I ate food poisoning, I can't play. Great, there's a commercial. But let me tell you what, when you got a broken finger and you have to rotate the ball and you have to shoot for the entire year, when you've got knee problems and ankle problems, without commenting upon what's happening in Colorado, you get back an hour before the game is due to take place and you drop 50 on them, I'm telling you, the will that Kobe Bryant has been able to put forth is amazing. I think that's what LeBron is trying to dig deep into.
It's interesting that you say that, because I'm sure Kobe Bryant will agree with you. Considering the recent debate about him compared to Jordan because of all the things he feels he's had to deal with. But I got to ask you this, and I'm not going to take credit for it. My producer, Antoine, pointed this out, and it's a legitimate question. He pointed out, asking you the question about, you know, just a cultural icon that was Michael Jordan versus that of who LeBron James is today. How do you compare the two?
Well, look, Jordan is incomparable in this sense. Jordan comes along when, first of all, David Stern has taken over the NBA, which he understands the global branding of it, but you can't have a global brand without a global icon. Jordan becomes the first global icon. Dr. J was an incredible force within the culture of America. The big fro, the ability to stylize his body against the laws of physics. But what Jordan does is begin to exploit the commodification of the black body. The black body, which has been accepted because the civil rights movement has forged awareness of the beauty and the intelligence of black identity. Jordan comes along at a time when people begin to celebrate it. A tall, dark, handsome, physically lethal specimen who also has the ability to commodify, that is, make commercials about gym shoes, make commercials about Gatorade. So when you have the marketplace joining the morality of social advance, that's something that's incomparable. What LeBron has to deal with is even more particular and peculiar, because now he comes along, he's compared to Jordan, he's compared to Kobe and the like, but he has a unique opportunity to, in this generation, remind us what it is that sports are all about. He's a team player. He's not an individual guy. He understands. He's, you know, you all often make the argument about Magic versus Jordan. But in this day and age, when a guy wants to pass first with that kind of talent, that's nearly heroic. When a guy sees that his teammates have to be included, not simply for them to win, but because of the beautiful symmetry of the game. LeBron is a historian as well as a philosopher of the game. His IQ is high. Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron have extraordinary IQs, but I think the commitment to the team spectacle is what makes LeBron different. I'll tell you this by ending. LeBron also has benefited his boys. He didn't just hook them up. Sure. He says, let me put you in a position where I will teach you the game and the agency so that now you can take forward, take advantage of what I've been able to give you and move forward. I think that's a rather unique thing in this day and age, and he's to be celebrated.
So how fair are the Jordan-LeBron comparisons?
Well, I mean, first of all, they ignore Kobe. That's number one. That's why it's unfair. But number two, I think that they're apples and oranges. They're two different kinds of human beings. Look, Jordan is a killer. Kobe is a killer. When you're that big as LeBron, as I was discussing with Chris Broussard earlier, the reality is when you're a big person, you tend to not want to intimidate others. You grow up with a mindset socially that you don't want to be the hulking physical behemoth, or as, if we appeal to Gulliver's Travels, the Brobdingnag. You don't want to be the big guy going around trying to intimidate somebody. You want to make them feel at home and at peace. I think in that sense, the killer instinct has not been refined in LeBron to the degree that Kobe and Jordan have. They are heartless and conscienceless. They don't care if their mama is standing right in front of them. They're going to move over her.
Before I let you go, because we only got a minute left, I need a quick answer to this. The big three for the San Antonio Spurs versus Miami's big three. What does that represent right now, particularly as these finals are about to conclude?
Well, I think Skip said it best, system versus superstar. I think Popovich has understood how to maximize the potential of those big three. I think, look, Chris Bosh is playing out of position. Let's be real about it. So the reality is Chris Bosh is far greater than the stats have lent themselves to suggest he is. But the coaching is the difference. The X's and O's, but also the kind of internal understanding of how the game should operate. So in this sense, the big threes are pretty evenly matched, but I think that Popovich's ability to leverage the talent of his team is greater, although I'm still predicting seven-game series, and I think LeBron and the Heat prevail.
Get it done. Okay. That was what I was going to ask you. You got right to it. Listen to this man. Wow. It was so much to digest.
I'm out of here, man. You guys don't need me.
Show's over.
He watches all the time.
Dyson,
I watch y'all every day. I'm honored to be here. I appreciate it.
No, we're honored to have you. A true upgrade. We appreciate it.
No, thank you so very kindly.
Coming up next, what about the big three? What if they